What's up, it's Daymond John. Thank you for joining me as I interview a lot of amazing people that inspire me for my Power of Broke series. This is Ryan Deiss right here, who is, he's actually in the book. Ryan's in the book. I first met Ryan maybe a couple of years ago when we were working on a project, Spy Escape Academy. Someone who came on to Shark Tank. I really didn't know where to take the product and the company. And Ryan, because of, as he'll get into some of the stuff that he's an expert in, he helped that company probably do about $2 million in gross sales fairly quickly after Shark Tank, and basically marketing online and converting people. And this is exactly what you need to know when you want to exercise the power of broke. But let me introduce Ryan. Thanks for having me here in your, I know you're busy time and you're about to set up your traffic and conversion conference.
Yep.
Right? So tell me a little bit about what you actually do for all these people who come from around the world, from people making $10,000 a year to Fortune 100 companies, come for your knowledge and your curriculum and your understanding of this digital world. Tell me what you do.
Sure. So our company, we have launched a number of businesses, a number of different product lines, things like that, primarily leveraging digital media, digital marketing to get the word out. And what we've always done from the beginning, my partner Perry Belcher and I, what we've always done is we've said once a year, let's see if anybody will show up in a room and let us talk to them about stuff that's working for us.
Right.
And you know, 7-8 years ago, that's what we did, and a couple hundred people showed up, and we thought that was pretty neat. And now here, 7-8 years ago, it's now 4,000 people showing up in a room wanting to hear the stuff that's working, and so it's turned into a real thing. It's not where it started, but it's neat to have seen it grown.
No, it's absolutely amazing, and the whole theory of the book is that, you know, the power of broke is used when you're small, because first of all, you go through the process, and not having the resources or thinking like you don't have the resources makes you laser focused, because you can't drown an opportunity. Unlike, you know, individuals who feel like once they have money, I can buy this. Oh, let me buy this expert. Let me buy this bigger, better website. You know, if somebody doesn't like your cupcake, one of them, advertising is not going to really help sell more cupcakes. People are not going to like.
It's just going to convince the world even faster that you suck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So tell me though, before we get to some of the maybe the examples you may have of people out there who use this power of broke, I think the power of broke is better served once we get to a certain level. Yeah. When we still think with the power of broke, when we're at a level that we could buy anything, right? We can probably buy anything, and if that was the case, if you have to have money to make money, then on the Forbes 1000 or the Inc. 1000, 65% of the people on that list came from nothing. They were broke. And if you needed money to make money, that means that they would never been able to make the list, because the 100 people on the list or 1,000 people on the list that had money, they would have still been on the list.
It's chicken and egg.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So why don't you tell me a little bit, if you have any anecdotes. Did you come from a wealthy background?
No, definitely not. I mean, I came from a very happy home. It's not like I was starving to death.
Yeah, right.
Fortunate to live in this country where, you know, even if you're poor, you're doing better than most in the world. So, but no, certainly not wealthy. And I know the stories that I talked about in the book all, you know, talk about how I got started when I was in college and didn't have any money.
Right.
But the reality is you're not supposed to have any money when you're in college. And I remember thinking, even when I was, you know, when we were talking through this and telling the stories that would go in the book, like, I kind of copped out a little bit, because you know, like I said, you're supposed to be broke. So I leveraged the power of broke when I was broke, but you know, being fully transparent, there have been times where we've had to come back and leverage the power of broke again when we shouldn't have had to, because we had a lot of money.
Right.
But money made us stupid. And we did all the stuff that you just said. You can hire this person, you can throw money at this and get it done. We've done that. We've done all that. And here we were sitting with this like really great company that we got there because of the strategies that you talk about in the book. Right. And then once we got there, throughout all the strategies, said, no, we're big boys now. You know, we can do this. And next thing you know, through a series of really just stupid decisions, because we're smart and we got money, and so let's spend it. You know, I'm staring at a bank account with about $20,000 in it, which would seem like a lot, except for the fact that the next week we had $200,000 in payroll that we had to make. So that's broke.
I made my biggest mistakes when I ended up having what people would think would be success. I did the same thing. I blew $6 million on a company called Heatherette. I tried to open a record label. I blew another $3 million there. Don't worry about it. I wasn't rapping, singing, or dancing. But
I've seen you dance though.
I a little shuffle.
I've seen the air guitar.
The air guitar, I definitely know how to do. But I made those mistakes because I always thought that when you get to that level, maybe I watched Dynasty too much or something, when you just point, hey, you do this, you do that. And I realized one thing about my sales staff. The number one person they're selling is me. They're selling me a bunch of crap on how they need to get their next check and keep their job. Unlike when you exercise with the Power Broke and you go through those hard times, you get to see the real characters in your staff revealed. The people who jump ship, the people who stick it out, the people who say, I'm here for you, no problem, the people who are honest with you. So I want to hear, like, how did you get to that $20,000 in the bank with a $200,000 payroll?
So it's really simple. You just make a series of really stupid decisions. I mean, I've said it a lot of times, money makes you stupid. If you're not careful, if you don't have rules in place, money will make you really, really stupid. And no, and you talked about it, it was opportunity. There were so many opportunities, and you just want to take them all. And you lose focus. And you say, we can do it, therefore we should. And so that's what we did. And we invested a little bit over here, same thing. Right. It's the same kind of deal. But and hired a lot of people. Didn't really take, made some really bad hires at the executive level. Hired somebody based on the name and their pedigree, not necessarily what they were doing, you know, and what they're able to do. And you overlook obvious flaws because it's easier just to keep paying them than it is to go ahead and cut them loose. Whereas when you don't have the money, right? When we're sitting there with $20,000 in the bank, thinking like, you know, we're not going to be able to make this happen. You have to start asking some really tough choices. Okay, who of this am I going to feel good going into my own bank account to pay?
Right.
Right. Just like when we first got started. Just like when we first got started to come out. Who do I feel good about paying? Like, this is real money. Right. You focus on the people that are around you. You focus on the opportunities. What are we doing today that will actually generate revenue today?
Exactly.
Let's do that. Let's focus in on that.
I like to be one step away from the money.
And I'll tell you, we were very, very blessed. We got a merchant reserve release because we wouldn't have made it.
Right.
I mean, we wouldn't have made it. We would not have been able to generate the revenue. I mean, we could have come up with it, right? We could have gone in, but we couldn't have generated the revenue that we needed to generate that quickly. We had a merchant reserve release where, you know, sometimes you got doing a lot of credit card transactions, they'll hold an unexpected merchant reserve release of about $200,000 that covered payroll and bought us another 2 weeks.
And after that, then you started licking your wounds and saying...
We said, my business partner Perry and I, we said, okay, this was a gift, but now we got 2 weeks. What are we going to do? And it's just like when we were getting started again, and we figured it out.
You know, and I have to honestly say, it's a fine line, though, because when we get to a point where, you know, the company's doing well and we're making a lot of magic happen, I think sometimes we are a little too hard on ourselves and go, why don't I spend a little dough on some people that may know more than I know to get to that next level? So I don't want it to be portrayed as totally stupid mistakes with let's buy everybody Ferraris.
Right.
But
yeah, we certainly weren't doing that.
Yeah. But there's definitely an investment side that you're trying to invest in the business, and then what I've learned is usually after the dust settles, 6 months, a year later, you go, why did I do that? It just wasn't what I was happy about. I was trying to go in this other area, and I just didn't drill down, narrow and deep on something that I know best.
It's also timing, right? How long will you let something that isn't working continue to not work? When you don't have a lot of money, you know, whether it's an opportunity that you're pursuing or whether it's a person you have, if it's not working out, this isn't working out. Right. You know, there's not the ROI here. You know, I'm making the investment. So yeah, and I think that's a great point. We're not saying don't invest in your business, don't invest in good, talented people, don't pursue new opportunities. Just don't let the money make you stupid. Right. Even if you're at a good place, still, there's got to be that part of you, that kernel of broke that needs to continue to simmer inside just a little bit, that keeps you grounded and keeps you sane and keeps you from allowing a bad decision to persist longer than it should.
Now, the people that come and seek you out for your curriculum and advice and things of that nature, you have, as I said, startups to everybody who's in huge companies. Why is that? Why does the huge company CEO or whatever, direct marketer, whoever, Why do they come to you? Are they saying, let me see what's going on in the market? Or are they saying, wow, this thing is moving so fast that I need as much knowledge as possible? What are the main reasons you find that they come?
In the digital marketing landscape in particular, when we say digital marketing, we're really talking about attracting, engaging, and or converting customers in a digital area, whether it's on the web or in apps and stuff like that.
And social media too?
Social media,
okay.
of course, yeah. All that. What we're finding is that it's not like it used to be, where when you were a big company and you wanted to dominate TV, well, you just went and bought all the spots. You just wrote a big check. Mm-hmm. Today, that's just not how it works, because the market is so spread out. It's so split up into all these little components, right? So if you're a giant company, you actually have to act much smaller today if you want to reach them, right? Because the constituencies aren't these giant swaths. Just think about TV, right? Mm-hmm. You know, when we were kids, there were a handful of channels, right? Now there's hundreds, thousands. There were a handful of magazines, right? Now there's millions of blogs that serve tiny little market segments. There's millions of Facebook pages that are out there. So you can no longer just write a check and compete. And so I think even the large companies, they're realizing they have to act smaller if they want to get any attention at all. You can't just throw money at it anymore.
And so what about the regular people out there? Because I think that's a good point. You're basically saying that they can't just throw money, they have to have this authentic voice. And whether they have to break it up in many, many different ways, because, listen, you look at Shark Tank, you have wannabe investors there, you have experienced investors watching it, you have kids who just want to have a great idea, and, they have to break up the advertising and marketing to see why, to send it out to everybody. What about the everyday person? The everyday person now has an idea. They're a startup, but they're telling everybody in the world how come they need money to make money and they can't get anything done, but yet they have 2,000 people following them on Facebook, and they're just maybe saying jokes on there or putting up pictures of grandma at the picnic. What do you say to those individuals who say, I don't know how to make any money, when meanwhile 2,000 people are friends? I had 6 friends when I was growing up, right? These people today have 2,000. What do you say to that type of individual out there?
The way that what they're doing right now naturally is what works.
Right.
Big, dumb companies are coming to us to figure out how to act smaller. They're coming to us to figure out how to act more broke. And the tragedy that I see is we'll have somebody come through us, and we'll have somebody who's a just brand new startup. I mean, we've had kids come through. We got this, this one startup founder, Nick Bentley, right, coming out of nowhere, launching a financial services company, and in the business lending space, venture capital, and coming out of nowhere and building a really, really great company. And thankfully, Nick is smart enough as he's growing, to not stop doing the things that got him where he was. And I see this a lot of times. I'll see people come in and they're scrappy, and they're recognizing, okay, I need to be authentic. I need to have an authentic voice, authentic brand. It's not about just having a logo. I need to be a person who's talking to this community of people here, and I'm making offers to them. And then for whatever reason, when you have success, when that works, everybody wants to throw that out the window and start acting like a big brand.
Right.
Not realizing that a brand without a soul is simply a logo.
That's right. That's true.
And so what they need to continue doing is exactly what they've been doing. And so I'm saying the same thing, whether I'm talking to a brand new startup person or whether I'm talking to a Fortune 1000 company, I'm saying the same thing. You have to act small. You have to engage intentionally and authentically with these small constituencies. Otherwise, nobody's going to be listening to you anymore.
Well, I love it. And that's all I want people to, I want to bang this in people's head, that they don't need money to make money. Actually, money can be a superficial high. I met a young lady, she has 1,000 people that follow her on a podcast. She just gives tips for other mothers. She's a young mother who is going through, the curves and changes of this new life that she's taking care of. But they pay her $10 a month for this podcast, and that's $10,000 a month she's making. That's $120,000 a year, and she doesn't leave her house, and all she talks about is taking care of her baby.
Yep.
Because she found another 1,000 women that happen to have newborns and or kids, and they just want to hear about it.
We live in an amazing time where you don't have to have all these things here. I could see somebody making an argument 20 years ago that you had to have some money to start a business, right?
Yes.
You had to have some, not as much as they probably believe they did, but today, right now, in this time, in this world that we live in, no.
Yeah, you don't need the money. You only need the fundamentals of business, which is be ready to get up before everybody else, go to bed after everybody else, make a lot of mistakes, do your homework, and surround yourself with like-minded people.
Yep.
And I think that's the main ingredient.
An extraordinary amount of hustle and an extraordinary amount of give a damn.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. And then I know that if somebody really can't get out there and see you guys or work on some of the curriculums that you have a book out.
InvisibleSellingMachine.com.
Okay.
We actually show how to talk authentically, via email and not talk like a big dumb brand.
Well, they always tell somebody if you want to hide something, put it in a book. So
go.
all those who want to think you're going to give them the magic bullet in 1 second, they're wrong. But if they want to learn, obviously check out Invisible Selling Machine on InvisibleSellingMachine.com, right?
Yep.
And then the rest of your stories in the book. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for being part of the book, and thank you for inspiring people.
Thank you.